Alright, what's up, guys? So, as the title suggests, this video is going to be programming a squat day to get jacked legs, something along that. So, I'm going to take you through this, and just like every workout I do, at the beginning, it's going to be purely movement prep. So, my favorite thing to do is the assault bike pedaling in reverse. This warm up's really good because it's about 3 to 5 minutes, which is very short. So, I'll just do 3 to 5 minutes, and you're getting hundreds of reps pedaling in reverse. And this is really good for priming your entire leg to squat, getting really nice blood flow and just giving you a pump throughout your entire leg and warming up your knees and everything, as opposed to going into a squat cold and just warming up traditionally through the bar, which in my opinion is just not as good. So directly following the movement prep, I'll go right into my primary squat movement. Right now I'm focusing on high bar ATG squats, so that just means for all of my squats I go ass to grass. I just prefer this because it's the most range of motion, and I feel like I'll get the most gains that way. But as long as you at least go to parallel or so, or about 90, that's totally fine. I just prefer going all the way down. So to speak on something like a mindset piece, this set here specifically is a good example of this. Normally I could only do these for 3, so I got 5. This is a 2 rep PR from the week before. And you'll see that like these reps are really hard, and it's kind of a certain area you have to get past a breaking point where like you think at like 3 reps, like I could have been like, yeah, that's about all I have in me and I can't do any more. But with squats specifically, they take a lot more energy exertion as compared to something like a bench, for example, where anybody can kind of hit an RPE 9 or 10 bench. Like it's still hard, but it's not hard to get to failure. But on squats, it's a lot harder because all the weight's just stacked on your back and you have to really push it. And I mean, you technically don't hit RPE 9 until you fall. But I'm not saying you should be falling on every single set, like that's pushing it to an extreme. But that's just an example of that, how it's kind of much harder. The exertion's a lot higher than something like a bench or a overhead press or something like to do with that. So just to speak on some programming, like what I'll do, I have my primary, my secondary squat day in a given week. So that means on my primary day, I'll do touch and go variations for the most part. And then on my secondary, I've been experimenting with this for the past month or so, and it's been really good for me, which is pause squats, which you see me doing here. This has been just amazing at strengthening the very bottom range of motion at my squat. So it makes it a lot more springier, you could say. Like when I go back to touch and go, they feel a lot lighter. It's just much easier because on these, like you'll see me doing here, 315, paused it for 1 at the very bottom, 2 to 3 seconds. I try to go for 3. And this is a lot harder than a traditional touch and go set. I'd say from my experience so far, I probably lose about half the reps I would normally get from a touch and go. So like for 295, for example, I could get that for like 6 to 8 on a touch and go squat. And then for pausing, I would only get like in this video 3, but I think I could get like 4 now. But on average, it's about cut in half. So it's very humbling for that reason. Like it is a lot harder than a traditional just ATG touch and go squat. So I have been squatting twice a week for probably the past like 3 to 4 months at least. And I can definitely say with confidence that, I mean, it's going to sound obvious, but it is a lot better than hitting it just once a week for many reasons. Because when I used to squat once a week, and sometimes not even, like I would take, we've all been there where we take like 2 to 3 weeks off of legs because you just don't care about training your legs. But when I would only squat once a week, I would be sore for like 4 to 5 days sometimes. And that's just not optimal for like daily life and like, your job, walking around extremely sore all day. Like that's the worst thing to have sore in my opinion, is just your legs, because it's just hard to do anything at that point. But when I started doing them twice a week, I honestly, at this point, the endurance is so high on my legs that like, I mean, I could probably train them more than twice a week. I'm not going to, mostly just for my lower back fatigue, because that's the main thing now that just actually gets sore, is just my back from having, hundreds of pounds on me like that, and then my lower back and whatnot. But yeah, my legs at this point, just the endurance is just really high. So I definitely recommend at least squatting twice a week. I mean, you don't have to be squatting. You can maybe deadlift one of those days, but like have your primary and secondary day, only go heavy, only max out once a week tops. Like I don't even 1 rep max once a week. Obviously don't do that. I used to do that in the past, but like I always have my secondary day. I'll always go lighter, so I'm not pushing it too hard each given week. But yeah, try squatting twice a week. It's going to be a lot more optimal for recovery, muscle growth, muscle endurance, and just everything all together as a whole. So for strength training, and this is what I do in every single one of my sessions, but you work up to a top set. So here I'm doing 315 for 5. This was a top set about a month ago. So you choose a percentage. You don't have to 1 rep max, obviously. Like, I'll do reps. Majority of my high weight will just be specializing at a specific weight. So like here I wanted to get 315 for 5. I didn't go any heavier until I got that because I knew that was going to make me stronger overall. And then the next couple of weeks, I would take back downs. Like sometimes I would choose a 3x5, let's say, at like 295, something like that, where I knew I could get that. That's just really good for strengthening you overall through reps. But you do want to test your 1 rep strength every now and then. I'd say probably once a month or so. So here you see me doing 345 for a 1 rep max. This was last week. Now, I wouldn't 1 rep max again after this for probably another 3 weeks or so until I really master some lighter weight, until I can maybe get this for 2 to 3 reps, for example. So that's just something to keep in mind. Don't 1 rep max every week. I used to do that, and you will plateau heavily. I definitely don't recommend it. So after I finish my top set and back downs on the squat, I'll just go into my bodybuilding work. So my hamstring curls on the machine, quad extensions. Sometimes I'll do leg press, and then of course calves, as you'll see me doing at the end of this. And I just do that to get pure hypertrophy, just as an icing on the cake at the very end of the workout. But yeah, that's the end of this. This is what I do for my leg day for the given week. And I'm going to be making more videos like this for my other body parts. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and peace.